Alrighty, heater box time. I had two boxes. They're heater only, so they're different than the AC boxes going inside interior. I had a plastic one and a metal one. The metal one's rusted out, wasted. The plastic one, the metal pieces were bad. So I spent a week trying to find one. I had a guy email me, he's got one. It was worse, rusted out, worse than I've got. And again, trying to find one. I've spent a week and can't do it. So I got to rebuild what I got. And what I'm doing is completely tearing it apart. Basically be a whole rebuild. So this is the plastic one. And what I just took out was the door that sits in here. And you can see it's just rusted full of holes, rusted in the corner. But the one in the other box was good. So take your time. This one was so rusted, I just took my Dremel and cut the little tabs loose. That one came out. The one that was in the metal box, it's been sandblasted. It's just a little pity looking, but the metal's all good. You just sprayed some PB Blaster on there and just kind of tapped it out. That one will now go in. It'll work a lot better. Just kind of sandblast. The box is dirty because I just kind of cleaned it up, or haven't quite cleaned it up yet. So that new door will go in here. This thing only takes 2 cables. And what I did find out, which I might have known 30 years ago and forgot because it seemed familiar, the cables that go on these things, that go to the selector and stuff, I think they're actually color coded. So like right here, you get kind of a blue one. These two are the same. Came off the same box. See, or different box with the bracket. The other cable is brown. And I think that's standard, and even on the AC boxes, you'll see 3 different colors of that. They're the same length. The thing about them that's different is they're clocked different. On one end, that's turned that way, and on this end, even though it's broke, you see it would have went to the left. It's turned the other way, and they're so short and stiff you can't really twist. I mean, you could twist them, get them to work, but just find the right ones if you can. I was looking for those, and finally I went up and just tore my whole storage building apart and found the one I needed. The other thing I'm going to do, in the plastic box, it's a little different. The metal one, which I've already cut apart here, has the holder for the heater core. It's welded in. On the plastic box, it's the same. It's the same piece. In here, it's welded. In here, in the plastic box, it's screwed. And I'm not sure what year used plastic, what year used metal. I don't know, but really doesn't matter on this because nobody's going to care. And it may have been the same year, might have been 80 changeover, who knows. So anyway, this one just has one little bad corner, and that ain't a big deal. That sets down in there. It's just, all it's going to do is let maybe a little air squeak by, but my edges are also gone on this one. So what I'm simply going to do is take some of the metal out of this one. It's going to be the same gauge. I'm just going to bend to 90 on it because that's where mine's rusted. And I don't want stuff flopping, so I'm just going to real lightly weld a little corner back on there. And see, even in this one, the corner's totally gone. This one's just trashed. And then I may cut out a little corner of that. And again, a lot of time, but if I found one that's 2 hours away, I can either have it shipped and pay $100 for it, or I can sit here for an hour and weld it up. Nothing you could have done. That's such a small place. I could have put some tape behind it and just laid some, it's like kitty hair Bondo stuff, Duraglass. That would hold in there fine, but it's cold, it's rainy, I'm waiting on other parts, so I might as well just weld a little. And that's it. I'll take some pictures of this. Like I said, I'll just cut out the corner that I need and set it in there and just tack it, lightly weld it. You guys know it takes a thin wire, which I got some 20, I can't remember, 28 gauge wire. Might be 24. Anyway, it's some real thin stuff I can use on my MIG welder and tack that up. And if it ends up that it's just too rusty and blowing through, I'll just, I'll either lay epoxy in there, which I've got some good aircraft epoxy, or the fiberglass. Either way, it'll work fine. And it's in a box, you'll never know. It's just you won't hear a whistle if wind's moving when it shouldn't be. And then the second part of that is, the car is never, ever going to have the frickin' heater or defroster on. It's only going to get driven in the summer. But then, you know how we are about doing parts and pieces and things. If you're going to do it, might as well do it right. So at least everything will work 100%. And that's it. And of course, I may get a phone call tomorrow after working on this for all day, because I'll take my time. And a guy down the road will say, hey, I got one, and I may end up go getting it. Who knows? Anyway, I think that's that. The master cylinder that I thought I had ordered, I did order. It came in, it was the right part number, but it was the frickin' wrong one again, curvy rear. It's a 1/2 inch taller than my original, but I actually found another one. So that one can just go right back to Amazon. I'll hold on to it for a minute. And the other one, I had him send me an exact picture. I'm tired of messing around. It looks right. It's just an older restored one that they bought out of parts place or something. I don't know why I want it to be right, but I'm afraid of putting one on that's a 1/2 inch too tall and hitting the hood. So got that going. And I also, let's see. Oh, I think I found a console. I'm not going to jinx that yet. So it's a new one. It's a reproduction, but I got a decent deal on it. Supposedly never been installed. We'll see how that goes. But I'll get back to this, do some welding, and then I'll follow it up in a little bit. All right, not perfect, but smooth it out a little bit, and at least the door will shut right, and I'll clean that up a little. All right, so the pan that goes in there is ready to go. A little painted a little wonky, but screws are in. The little rusty spot down there is now filled in. Doors painted. Could not find studs to save my life. That was an original little stud. So I just made some, ground the heads off, weld it. Yeah, it took me an hour, but I couldn't frickin' find them. So now I've got the studs put back in everywhere. I guess that'll hold. Ain't much there. So that is done. And I ordered a new heater core. Heater core I had was okay. It was an original. I put 60 pounds of pressure on it and it didn't leak, but it looks funky. And then you never know just how close it is to leaking, I guess. So rather than have to pull that, I just ordered another one. And they're all aluminum, but should work. So that's it. I will let this stuff dry, get some things painted on at the door. I will probably try putting it together here soon. Bye. So this is one of those times I'm working on putting the vents back in here and cleaning up little pieces and things. And everybody's bench probably looks like mine, right? So I'm just going through there picking things that, I mean, some of the stuff is just left over, put it wherever. But these are the parts you take off the car and you clean them up as as you're going back together. And I picked this up. Y'all should recognize that. But it makes you rethink reality for a minute. Because I'm like, why is this even here? Because this is a fresh air intake for a air-conditioned car. I have no idea why it's in the pile. And I'm not even sure, I couldn't tell you. But it's just one of those things you run into. Maybe somebody's screwing with me and like, buddy of mine threw extra screws in the tray, right? You ever seen that happen? But pretty sure nothing goes in the cowl on a heater car. So, good thing I didn't just start sandblasting and painting parts, throw them on. It's just one of those weird things. Anyway, on to something else. Oh, one thing I was going to say real quick. Ordered carpet for the, so I went on Summit, Rock Auto, all of them, went to the ACC carpet, and it makes you walk through a selection. It's a customizable selection chart. Make, model, year. Is it a 4-speed? Is it not a 4-speed? Something else. And I selected, well, Summit was giving me 2 different part numbers for the same thing. Or not what ain't right. It was giving me the same part number, but letting me select 2 different things. And I guess that's so you cut your own, whatever. So anyway, it comes in and it says something like 70 to 92 Caprice 4-door. And at first you're like, what the, it's typical, everything orders is wrong. So I went and double checked, and if you punch in 77 Caprice 4-door, gives you the same part number. So apparently it's the same floor. The picture's different. When you ordered it for a Trans Am, it had a cutoff, so it just tucks under here, and that's as far as the carpet goes, and then it's usually got a piece. But it looks like, maybe if they run out, they give you the 4-door one. I don't know, but it's the same at the front, it looks, but it's got extra carpet going back that way. At least that's what the picture showed. I hadn't pulled it out of the box yet, but anyway, I just thought it was interesting that, yeah, a lot of things were the same, but who knew? So anyway, it takes more time out of your day. You order something, then you got to sit there and spend an hour tracking it down to even make sure it's right. So anyway, that's it. Finished up the box a little bit. Started putting things back together. Got her cleaned up. Just waiting on a heater core, and then I can put this thing together, paint the fan box. Man, what a mess, huh? Paint the fan, I sandblasted it, put a little primer on it, and I think I went ahead and ordered just the pump instead of this mechanical. It's one of those things that I figured nobody's ever going to care, and as long as it works, it's fine, and I don't have to worry about that mechanical clunk clunk. So that's it. Just been sitting here looking through the book at heaters and pieces, because you end up with bags, and I'm repainting parts and pieces, and there's brackets, and Jesus, I forget where half of it even goes. And then again, it must be old age, because I go to do the windshield wiper mechanism. Well, I got 2 of them on the table. And for the life of me, I couldn't tell you why. Maybe there was parts in the trunk, but that was a clean table when I started tearing this car apart, putting parts there for that reason. And it very well could have came out of the trunk. Also explains why I had 2 heater cores. Matter of fact, I think one was in the trunk for some reason, but there was one on the car, one on the trunk. Anyway, I cut it apart anyway and used pieces of it to weld that thing back together. So that's it for now. I'll see if I can unconfuse myself and maybe sort some pieces, and we'll start on something else.